When I saw the HOA cabin on my land, I didn't call a lawyer. I didn't call the cops. I set a trap. That's the part people don't understand. Most folks react. They argue, they threaten, they storm into meetings with printed maps and shaking hands. I made coffee. That morning was quiet. The kind of quiet you earn after surviving enough storms to recognize one before it hits. Pine in the air, damp soil, no traffic. No HOA newsletters taped to my door like passive-aggressive warnings disguised as community updates. I walked my boundary like I always do. My father taught me something simple. Land doesn't protect itself. At first, the shape didn't register, just straight lines where nature bends, angles cutting through trees that had stood longer than anyone in that subdivision. Then the sun hit the glass, windows, fresh lumber, clean geometry, a cabin, not near my boundary, not brushing it. Deep inside it, that's when the cold settled in. This wasn't confusion. It wasn't sloppy surveying. It was confidence, the kind that assumes you won't fight back, or worse, that you'll get tired. I didn't yell. I opened my GPS, parcel overlays, survey markers, my father's original deed, cross-referenced twice. No mistake. Someone had built a community retreat on land they didn't own. And people like that don't fear confrontation. They fear documentation. So I took photos, wide shots, close shots, GPS stamped, time stamped, backed up. Then I walked away because the cabin wasn't the problem. It was the invitation. And before the sun finished rising, I had already decided how I would answer it. The sign survived the first night. That told me everything, because if this had been an accident, someone would have called, apologized, asked questions. Instead, my trail camera chimed at 6:12 a.m. Headlights cut through the trees. An SUV rolled in slow, not confused, not cautious, annoyed. And then I saw her for the first time. Karen, blonde bob, perfect blazer, clipboard tucked under her arm like it was a badge of authority. She stepped out, read the private property, no trespassing sign, and laughed. Not nervous, dismissive. She pointed at it and said something sharp. One of the men hesitated. She raised her hand. Not yet. That moment told me who she was. She didn't get her hands dirty. She gave orders. By mid-morning, she was at my gate. Good morning, she said, smiling like I should be grateful. I'm Karen, president of the HOA. She said it like it outranked a deed. We noticed a sign, she continued. That area has traditionally been shared community space. It's my land, I said. Her smile tightened. She talked about history, about tradition, about how I had just moved back and maybe didn't understand the local arrangements. Then she said the mistake that would end her. That sign needs to come down. No, I said calmly, it doesn't. Her voice dropped. Take care of it. She didn't look at me when she said it. She looked at her board member. And that's when she crossed from entitled to criminal. If this is already heating up, make sure you like the video, share it, subscribe, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. They came back in broad daylight. That's how you know someone believes they're untouchable. No masks, no hesitation. Just bolt cutters in the open, like my land was a suggestion instead of a boundary. The camera caught everything. The SUV door slamming, gravel crunching, the same board member who looked uncomfortable on my porch, eyes scanning the tree line like he already knew this was wrong. The other man didn't care. He walked straight to the sign. One squeeze, the wire snapped clean, the sign hit the dirt. That should have been enough. It wasn't. He planted his boot against the steel post and leaned into it. Once, twice. On the third shove, metal groaned and bent forward like a broken tooth. That was the moment. Not trespass, not vandalism. Intent. They weren't removing confusion. They were erasing proof. I watched the footage twice, then frame by frame. Clear faces, clear timestamps, GPS overlay, no ambiguity. I didn't replace the sign immediately. That surprises people. Escalation isn't about reacting louder. It's about freezing the crime exactly as it is. I photographed the bent post, measured the distance to the survey marker, logged everything. Then I wrote a formal letter to every HOA board member by name, 30 days. Remove the cabin, or it becomes abandoned property. No threats, no emotion, just consequence. Karen responded with a community email. Misunderstanding, safety concern, shared access. She didn't deny cutting the sign. She reframed it, and reframing a documented act, that's admission. Karen thought speed would save her. Instead of removing the cabin, she escalated. She sent letters through an attorney, claimed long-standing community use, warned me not to take unilateral action. She never mentioned the video. 30 days came and went. Silence. Day 31, the demolition crew arrived at 7 to 2 a.m. No drama, no shouting, just diesel engines and paperwork. By 7:26, the first wall folded inward. By 9:10, the cabin was gone. Clean ground, stacked lumber placed neatly across the fence line on HOA land, invoice taped to the top. That's when Karen exploded. "You can't do this." "I already did," I said. The lawsuit arrived the next morning. 6 figures in damages, emotional distress, community loss. We went to court 2 weeks later. Karen testified first. Calm, confident, polished. There were no signs, she told the judge. No fencing. The land was open. My attorney stood. Exhibit 12. The courtroom lights dimmed. Night vision footage filled the screen. Karen, on camera, pointing at my sign. "Cut it down. Now." The bolt cutters snapped. Silence swallowed the room. The judge leaned forward. "You were under oath, Miss Westbrook." That was the moment her authority died. Perjury referral, case dismissed, counterclaim granted, HOA audit ordered. By the end of the week, Karen resigned. The land is quiet again, and that's the lesson. Boundaries don't protect themselves. People enforce them. If this opened your eyes, like, share, subscribe, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from.